and serving you on TV, online, and on the go. This is Valley News Live 10 at 10.
Two back-to-back robberies last night at Fargo liquor stores, and police are still looking for two men in these surveillance photos from Bottle Barn and the Spirit Shop. Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us tonight. 6 robberies this month in the South Fargo area brings up the question, what would you do if you were in the store when it was being robbed?
Valley News Live's Christine Stanwood talks with a local private investigator on steps you can take if you see crime happening.
Surveillance cameras can only capture so much, and with robberies happening left and right in Fargo, we wanted to know what it takes to be a good witness.
You have an adrenaline rush, your heart just automatically goes up, and you're reacting so fast.
A local private investigator knows what it's like to be threatened at gunpoint.
They had a gun. I was like, okay. And I kind of backed up slowly, and he ran his way, and then I called 911. I had my phone on me and let the police do their job, and I told them what direction.
John requested that we didn't show his face for protection of his practice, but in that instance, John knew what details to give to police in order for them to track down the suspect that threatened him.
Best thing to do is if you could focus on a detail, their clothing, behaviors, mannerisms, scars, tattoos.
And he urges the public to take note of these details if they're in a similar situation.
Just do the best you can with the circumstances you have to stay focused, and as hard as it would be in that situation, try to stay calm.
We talked to one woman who lives right around the Bottle Barn, one of the most recent places to get robbed. She knows that she needs to stay alert.
I think it's very important that we all pay attention, because maybe it's not happening to us, but we know we could be in that situation at any given time.
And to remember,
don't try to be a hero at that time, and if you're out at night, go in groups.
In Fargo, Christine Stanwood, Valley News Live.
Fargo Police Lieutenant Ross Renner also sent out a message on the site Nextdoor. That's a neighborhood social networking site that connects neighbors to each other. He urged residents to take a moment to look around the building they're going into, like a gas station, a liquor store, or restaurant, before entering. He says the last thing he wants is for anyone to walk in during the middle of a robbery. You can also follow the latest on these robberies along with the rest of the day's news, weather, and breaking news updates anytime on your feed. Just search Valley News Live, like our page, and you'll stay informed throughout the entire day.
A Grand Forks man is behind bars after a chase on his bike led to police tasing him. A tip from the public helped track down Christopher Lalico, who was wanted on several warrants. Officers went near the area of 5th Avenue North and North Washington Street. When Lalico saw police, he then took off on a bike. At one point, the 37-year-old jumped off the bike and stole a different one after chasing him for about 12 blocks. Police caught up with Lalico, but he resisted arrest and was tased so they could get him into handcuffs. Now, along with 3 warrants, he's arrested for possession of meth and marijuana.
The 17-month-old girl has died after being hit by a vehicle at a daycare in Fergus Falls. Police responding yesterday afternoon to find Ava Dirkman unresponsive. She later died at the hospital. Police say a woman picked up her child at this home daycare. The daycare owner was on the street saying goodbye to the woman in an SUV when the toddler walked in front of the vehicle unnoticed by both adults. The driver pulled forward, hitting the child. We know that the daycare owner is related to the child, and the daycare has been licensed and operating for decades. Trouble for 4 students in Fergus Falls, Minnesota. They've been expelled for a full year, but school officials aren't saying why. The district's business manager says the students violated school policy but couldn't explain, citing a Minnesota state law. The students agreed with the expulsion and signed agreements saying they no longer have the right to a hearing. The law says students can be expelled for violating school board regulations, disrupting other education, or endangering other students or school employees.
A report from Homeland Security released today says the United States is losing the fight against ISIS and that the country is not doing enough to stop people from joining. Out of all the states, Minnesota is losing the most people. Homeland Security says over the past few years, more than 250 Americans have joined or tried to join terrorist groups in Iraq and Syria. It released cases of 58 people that were made public. Minnesotans represented 1 in 4 of these cases, and we just don't seem to be having the right strategy to stop them. Social media is the main source ISIS is using to recruit.
A group of Minnesota lawmakers got a pitch for money for a new jail in Clay County. The jail in Moorhead is the oldest in the state. It doesn't meet Department of Corrections standards. County officials are hoping with the tour today they'll be able to get some state money to help pay part of a new jail's estimated $40 million cost. During his time as UND's president, Robert Kelly has been at the helm of one of those biggest transitions the school has been through, moving away from a controversial nickname and finding a new one. Today, President Kelly focused on his legacy moving forward, announcing major initiatives for UND during the annual Chamber of Commerce Wake Up with UND breakfast. Kelly set a goal of reaching $125 million of research expenditures on an annual basis. He also wants to put $100 million more into endowment for student scholarships and faculty.
Fair to say you'd rather not have your legacy tied to this nickname business?
Oh, I think the University of North Dakota is such an exceptional place that if I have any legacy at all, it's just been enhancing the academic programs, building better facilities for our students and our faculty and our staff.
As President Kelly continues toward his January retirement, it remains to be seen what his legacy will be following the nickname vote, which is expected next month.
A community came together today to help the family of a man who recently passed away and not only left his family behind, but he also left tons of beets to harvest. What should have taken 7 to 8 days turned into a one-day project near Galchute, North Dakota, as more than 60 friends and neighbors pitched in to make sure Steve Moen's beets were harvested one last time in light of his untimely death.
Well, it's just tremendous. Everybody who lives around here, it's a close community. Everybody wants to help in any way they can. So it's just been an outpouring of support, and it's really nice to see that everybody's willing to help the family in a time of crisis like this.
Harvesting took around 10 hours, and the beets will be taken to the Mindak Farmers Cooperative in Wahpeton to be processed into sugar. Well, a few familiar faces hit the hardwood tonight against the Harlem Ambassadors. It was quite a show as area mayors, fire chiefs, and sheriffs put on a different uniform for the night, calling themselves the Red River Flood Team. The Harlem Ambassadors picked up the pace with high-flying slam dunks and ball handling tricks to entertain.
Valley